Hi, Bright Lights. Welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Tina. I want to reach out and thank all the new subscribers and people that are commenting about my videos. I encourage all of your reactions, your support, in any way that shows up for you. In today's video, we're going to talk about how narcissists trap the empath and they set the empath up to fail. How have they been doing this? But let's talk about empaths. Who are empaths? Well, they are the bright lights of the world, as I call them, the super caring, loving, sense of justice individuals, wanting everyone to be included, wanting people to feel love and warmth and kindness all over the world. So that's who I'm speaking to. You know who you are, the light workers, the star seeds, the nerds. Have to include them, the people who feel like they're on the outside looking in, those that have been cast out by their families. That's who we are. And you're all welcome here. This is a safe space, and we're going to talk about a lot of these things and how you're being trapped and why that is. So, how are empaths set up to fail? Well, the first thing is there's going to be a song that came to me that is representative of this video and all of the information that I'm going to talk about in today's video. The song is Separate Ways by Journey, and this song refers to the relationship between the higher self and the inner child, and the interference of the narcissist, which breaks your heart and keeps you in this state of confusion. I will put the lyrics in the description box below, and I ask that you listen to the song. I'll put a link to a video from Journey, and I'm also going to put a link to a remake that was done by Daughtrey and Izzy. And I liked this version because it represented the masculine and the feminine energy. So that's why I wanted to put that one in there as well. So, as empaths, we get labeled as codependent, but I think it is the narcissist that projects this codependent persona onto the empath. They do it through infiltrating these four main structures. There are others, and I'm not going to be talking about intimate partners here. I'm going to be talking about these four structures that they've infiltrated into society, and they are the parental structure, the religious structure, the company structure, and that will include bosses and owners, the media and entertainment structure as well. And at the end of this video, I will be reviewing in depth 3 ways the empath, the bright lights of the world, can break free to create, to at least start to create your own place in society, your own structure, and build what success looks like for you, not what these people are telling you success is. So I'm going to start with religion because it fostered the growth of the narcissistic parent. So let's talk about religion. I am a recovering Catholic. Religion was actually, in my opinion, set up for the narcissist to learn how to love and give and share of themselves. We empaths do that naturally. We know how to do this. We don't need a religion with 10 commandments to tell us to do this. That was set up for the narcissist who is at the stage of development and their ascension, who don't know yet right from wrong, bad from good. So they needed these set of rules. However, if people gravitate towards that severe narcissism, they have this deep seated belief that they are above the rules. So you're supposed to follow the rules because the narcissist believes that you are here to serve them. And because we, at our deepest emotions, we love to serve others, that is why we tend to come together, but it's a little bit of an illusion. And so let's talk about when Jesus came here, when some of the ascended masters were here. So Jesus represented the Christians. Buddha represents Buddhism. When Lord Krishna came to the earth. He was represented by Hinduism, Abraham by Judaism, and of course, Muhammad representing Islam. At one time, all of these teachings were a very high consciousness level, and a lot of them still are today. But others, some of these have been corroded, by the narcissist who manipulates and distorts the teachings for personal power and gain. It shows up in the most destructive way possible because more people have been murdered in the name of religion than for any other reason. It's all about dividing, causing separateness. And now they use those manipulations to trap the empaths to give away their power in order to harvest our time, our energy, and our resources. So be very careful about these religions and the leaders that you are following, because religions will project onto you this sense of struggle. Life is hard, the meek will inherit the earth. No, actually, the meek, if they are trained, will give everything to the narcissist who will eventually destroy the earth, because narcissism is a cancer. It is, and it can only be healed by allowing the light in. So it's a struggle to come here for us light beings, and that's not because of having to believe that. It's because it's a very dense energy, and so we are here to clear these energies to create newer, higher levels of vibrations, and it can feel very hard. But religion puts this belief that Jesus died for our sins, and somehow you caused this to happen and you are responsible for this. And this is a projection of shame and guilt. It's the lowest levels of vibrations, and they want to keep you in this state of vibrations. And so they project onto you this act of murder against this person, this ascended master who the narcissist annihilated, basically. And they distort that story to put you in this sense of victimhood and this ever sense of injustice, to make you believe that somehow you are responsible for it. So you need to follow what they tell you. And this is again tied to sex as well. And we can go very deep into that energy, but tying shame and guilt to it and distorting what sexual energy is all about. The story of forgiving is another way they infiltrated by this forgiveness without change is utter nonsense. It's abuse. And but Jesus turned the other cheek. But the distortion of that is, yes, Jesus did turn the other cheek once he was abused, but he didn't let someone else slap the other cheek. He walked away. You turn the other cheek, you walk away. That's the distortion with that. But this, they're projecting onto you this questioning that us empaths need to forgive and forgive and forgive with no change attached to it. And that is not love, that is abuse. And then we have the marriage vows, tying people together until death do you part. That is not love, that is ownership, and that is the game. The narcissists love this game the most because that brings in that level of guilt and shame tied to a vow that you made, and then it infiltrated out to the community where you have to get a marriage license and you have to go to it creates, to get a divorce is extremely difficult and it's very shameful. So again, these are all mechanisms that they are using to trap you in these lower energies. And the last one I'm going to talk about with religion is this give, give, give mentality. We are naturally giving beings, and I only want empaths to give when they feel truly inspired to, not out of obligation. And this religious fosters this obligation to give, where these large religious institutions hoard massive amounts of wealth, which is a narcissistic trait, but yet they expect you to continue to give and give when you are struggling in your own life. So that is all by design of the narcissists. And then let's drop down to how we get here with our narcissistic parents, and we do choose our parents. So I know people don't like to hear that, but there are many reasons beyond that, and I will do a separate video about why that is. But if you come in as an empath, they will make you fail, and that is to drive you away, which is part of the path. They're actually manipulating you to get your energy. They don't actually want you to leave them, but they do this push and pull type of abuse. And they will make you look good because only if you are making them look good. It's all about making them look good. You, they look at you as an extension of themselves as long as you make them look good. But don't you dare stand up for yourself. Don't you dare express yourself in any way that difference from their perception of who they think you should be. And truth tellers, I was a truth teller, you guys are going to get punished the worst. You are not allowed any truth telling. They want to keep you quiet. So again, siblings are pitted against each other and used as fodder for who can become the golden child, who's the scapegoat for whichever roles that they put you into. And we all know how that's played out in our life, which I talk about, why you should walk away. And and then if you're from a religious family, that's the double whammy. Honor thy mother and father. Don't ever speak ill of your family. You will go to hell. To forgive is divine. We have that again that distorted level. They push you into that codependent amnesia in order to survive. How many of you can even remember your childhood? I have years I do not remember, and for good reason, I can assure you. And then there's your safety and mental health, which was never a concern. Maybe there were moments, there's always these brief moments of, oh, a crumb here or a crumb there, but you were raised to believe that you don't deserve any of it. And so then we have the third structure that keeps you tied to the narcissist and keeps you playing the game is these companies, and they get infiltrated with these narcissistic owners and bosses who run them. And of course, these are not exclusive. There's great companies to work for. I've had great bosses to work for. But when you have a narcissistic boss, you can't do enough for them. Expect, more is you have to give more than could ever be reasonable, working you into unreasonable amounts of overtime and an unreasonable pace. I've seen that in manufacturing facilities, working people 7 days a week. And then there's the taking credit for your work so that they benefit from it, implementing salaried positions so that they can work and not have to pay you overtime. That has been the biggest lie in the corporate world. Implementing value systems, the values you need to follow. One of them was called WOW, WOW, wow. How are you going to wow today? Where they want to harvest all your great ideas and use them to benefit the company with none of that benefit coming back to you. And then there's the ultimate one. We are a family. Yet somehow I was never invited for Christmas dinner on their yacht. So there's never any concern for your mental health or welfare. This is just fodder to make you think that they are loyal to you. It's all an illusion. So you should not be loyal to them. You work with integrity, but you do not give yourself to them. Then the fourth structure that they've infiltrated is the media and entertainment. We know the news already. I mean, that's a negative. A lot of the news organizations have now been bought out by narcissists to drive certain agendas. And of course, there are still journalists with integrity. There are still empaths who are journalists. But again, they're silencing the, we're in this huge change right now because you don't know where to get your information from. So there's a lot of confusion right now. Narcissists do like to drive a lot of confusion because it keeps that people in that state of of fear and not knowing what's going to happen when we really don't know. We're always creating in the moment. So it's always been that way. You don't need to believe that that's a fearful place to be. It's actually a very powerful place to be in manifesting. So, and then we have music, and I love music. Music has been such a great healer for me. And, but you have to pay attention because the narcissists have infiltrated music to try to put you in states of lower consciousness. So just understand what the lyrics are about, understand how it makes you feel. Is this a release for you? Because it can be a deep emotional release, or is this draining you of your energy? Again, it's just paying attention to that. And then we have the movie industry, the entertainment, the narcissistic ideals of this fairy ideal that if you work hard enough, you will destroy and win over the bad guy, or you will, that lover that was mean to you will see your worth and they will come back and be everything you dreamed they would be, and you'll live happily ever after. They will eventually see your value and your worth. It's this, they perpetuate this ideology that actually empaths, we do have this very idealistic, sometimes worldly view, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's has to be grounded in reality, though. We do have to open our eyes to seeing the traps, and that's probably the more difficult thing for the empath to do. But I want to talk about the movie The Beauty and the Beast, this cartoon, this Disney cartoon that of Belle, so if you think about Belle, she was a bell. Belle is ringing the bell, the wake up call, the empath. And so this was that reflection of love them till you break the curse, no matter how bad they are to you, no matter how much they isolate you. And I remember her being in this castle around all of this, frozen in the winter, and trying to get on her horse and ride away. Horses are all about boundaries and freedom. And so the wolves then attack her, but then the beast saves her. So then all of a sudden you are relying on the narcissist because they're your safety. And that is what draws um, empaths to narcissists, is this illusion of safety. But what people miss a lot in that movie um, is that the beast has to be killed in order to break the curse. It's the love of the death. When you go back into unity consciousness and you feel all that love, and then you see him in the cartoon, he leaves the body. It almost like the body raises up, and the beast, and there's this change that happens, and he goes up and then he comes down and he's the handsome prince. And what the symbolism of that is that is the death of the narcissist, and then they go up into the heavens and they have their life review, and then they come back, they reincarnate back as the handsome prince or the beautiful princess because they've learned their lessons. And so the other interesting thing that of the symbolism of that movie is the beast ends up being killed by another narcissist, Gaston. And that is part of this um idea that the empaths are meant to leave the narcissist. They're not meant to try to change them. If you love somebody and they're a narcissist, you're not meant to put up with the abuse. You're meant to leave them. You can still love them. This is not about love, not loving someone. This is about not allowing people to abuse you, because that is blocking your soul essence. So it's not about holding your love from them. But it's about leaving the narcissist with the other narcissist to see the reflection, to start to learn some of the lessons. And they if they're in a certain place in their life, they can't learn it from the empath. They can only learn it by being left with other narcissists. So with that being said, how do we break free as an empath? How do we start to bring awareness to what's going on in our world to get there's three main things I'm going to talk about how you can start to withdraw from the game that the narcissist has infiltrated to keep us in these states of confusion. The first is you really need to start looking at how and where you're spending all of your time. Everybody needs to recharge, and yet no, and I know I didn't have time for this. You know, your body gets very accustomed to being in these states of anxiousness and confusion, and we just have a hard time settling down our nervous systems to be able to meditate. But you need to, whether you go out to your car, you need to starting that spiritual practice of meditating for 15 minutes a day, writing down where you're spending all your time. And if you live with a narcissist, you cannot meditate in the same environment because, or at work, you know, leave the building, go out to your car, like I was saying, because narcissists are an invasive species. They are always feeling out for your energy. They're, you know, to drain it. So it's not healthy. You have to have a space outside of that energy to recharge your energy. And so, do you work more than 40 hours a week? What can you do about that if you're doing that on a regular basis? Because they have completely got to buy into the fact narcissists, sorry, not narcissists, but empaths want to be needed. They want to feel that they are needed, that they are worthy. And that gets abused in this work environments and working more than the numbers that you should be working. Then there is what do you do with your free time? You know, do you binge watch TV? Are you on Facebook, social media? Are you watching videos all the time? Not debunking that if you're doing it for self-improvement, obviously. You know, but start writing what you're spending time on and let go of this idea that you don't have any time to start working on yourself, because I found that that was all an illusion, that I had plenty of time. I was even doing stuff on my lunch breaks, you know, making sure I was getting up a little earlier to do my meditations and writing, you know, in my journal, doing my gratitude journal at night. There are things you can do to start raising that self-worth and self-respect, because that's when things start to change on the outside. It takes a while to start changing the inner world, and it shows up a little later in your outer world. So patience is always key. So then the next uh, number two I'm going to talk about is your energy. Your energy is critical. How you feel is critical for breaking out of these traps, because narcissists want to keep you low vibration because they feed off of it. So who are you giving your energy to? And this could be a wide range of people, but who's draining you the most? So we want to start to narrow that down and start to push out those that are taking too much from us. So you can replenish your energy, but if you're just giving it away and you have none left for yourself, you are going to be exhausted all the time. So you have to pay attention to how you're feeling around people. And one of the keys is we make excuses for others. You know when you're being self disrespected. You know when you're being disrespected at a deep level, and we tend to excuse people and forgive them for that because of that program. And so we need to start to become aware of this so that we can start to raise up our self-worth to challenge those people that are disrespecting us. And then the biggest oversight that people don't think of is the divine temple, your body. Um, how you feel is directly related to your spiritual journey. Are you getting adequate sleep? Are you eating food that is heavily processed and fast food? The narcs have infiltrated them and put all these addictive substances in all these different foods. And it can even be, you know, sugar-free things and stuff. So just be very conscious of what's in the food you're eating. Because if you don't feel good, you won't have the strength to put the energy into doing your inner work, learning about yourself. And so there's other addictive, toxic things. You know, I don't have to list all of them: smoking, drugs, alcohol. There's nothing worse than getting up and spending the day with a hangover. That's such a waste of time. So take a look at these things that you are doing that are sabotaging your energy. It took me years to master my diet. So again, you have to be flexible because as you change, your needs will change. And then, of course, for energy, the last piece is exercise. Getting out in nature, walking. It doesn't have to be anything overly strenuous. You can do a dynamic meditation. You can do a walking meditation. There are things that you can combine that save you some time that you do together. So, um, exercise shakes off a lot of these negative vibrations and breaks the cords, that people have attached to you and have projected onto you, because we are the conduits for transmuting dark energy. So we don't want it sticking on us. So exercise is also very important. Remember, self-respect, self-worth. And then the final um, thing that I believe people need to get a handle on when they're starting their awakening journey is resources. Where are you spending your money? If you're with a narcissist and you have given up control of your money, it is critical that you ask for help, that you find somebody who can give you advice or support you or tell you where to go or what you need to do, because you are a complete slave to somebody who controls the money. That is the root chakra. That's your safety, your security, your stability. Everything is right there. And you have to, that is the toughest piece to break out. Um, but then you could also be one of the empaths who are being the caretaker for a narcissist who isn't pulling his or her own weight. And this will become obvious as you start to put it on paper who's contributing what, and then start going to the minimalist approach like I did. That was very helpful. Not only being conscious of what I was sparing, but conscious of what I was spending, but asking, do I really need this? Is there a cheaper way I can get this thing that I want? We get trapped by houses and cars that we can't afford because banks are willing to loan you money at a higher level than you can even pay back. And it's all to keep you trapped. Renting may be better for someone. I went to renting because I wanted the flexibility. I didn't want to be trapped by having to put improvements into a place. And I wanted to be able to move as needed. So I chose renting. Driving a dependable car doesn't have to be cost $50,000. I own a 10-year-old car that's very dependable and extremely comfortable. And do away with a car if you can. My ultimate goal is to move abroad and go to a place where there is better public transportation where I can go and do the things I need to do without owning a car. I prefer it's such a big expense. I would rather rent one occasionally when I need a car and not have to own it. Can you get rid of subscriptions that you don't need? We're subscribed to death on everything. They want you to subscribe to everything. Look at that closely, what kind of phone you have, what's on the plan. I did a whole rework lately and moved plans to again save money. And then we are insurance poor. I also reevaluated all my insurance. The trap it the narcissist wants you to believe is you need to give them money because there's some because something catastrophic that's going to happen that you're going to need this. So, and of course, empaths want to feel safe, so we buy into that. We are insurance poor, even though we have no national insurance program here. We pay oodles and oodles of money for what we think we need. And I'm not dissing anybody who needs to take medication temporarily or to help with a problem. That is not what I am saying, because all of those things can work in conjunction with healing energy. So, that is all wonderful things that people are doing with medicines. But it's the insurance side that's trying to control doctors now as to what they can do for you. And it's getting very, very toxic. So again, just to reevaluate, what are you paying? What can you do without and still feel safe? Remember, as you continue to gain your self-worth, the abundance will start to come in, and it will become easier. But as long as you have these weird beliefs about money and you have this self-worth issue, You will never hang on to money. It took me a while before I was able to save and have money set aside for any emergencies that come up, and to be able to pay to give to others, and to also take classes for my own, my own ascension. And so I do that. There are other masters that I'm drawn to that help me out in a lot of different ways. So as you gain, these little steps, you will start to bring in more abundance just naturally, just by looking at your finances and starting to really dial in. And the last piece I'm going to talk about with this consumerism and over consumerism we've been programmed into is, are you spending it on luxury items, fancy name brands, clothes, makeup, etc.? I don't wear makeup every day anymore. I do not buy name brands. I find what I like, and then I look to see if I can find a cheaper version. There's so many great YouTube videos where people have tried stuff, and then you can see how it works. So you don't have to spend a fortune. And I just want you to know that luxury was designed by the narcissist to keep you poor, to keep you always striving and overspending, over consume, buying these fancy bags and things like that. It's just a trap. Um, and just so you know, it's at an all-time high in 20 January of this year, this month. Louis Vuitton was at the top of the list for generating the highest income of all businesses. So remember, self-respect, self-worth. So, the whole idea behind awareness is to get you into alignment with who you came here to be. And it's not sacrificing yourself to make others satisfy their ego wants and desires. You are not meant to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. See, the empaths are meant to leave the narcissist, and eventually all the narcissists get left with the enablers because they haven't learned their lesson, and the other narcissist. And why I had referenced that movie Beauty and the Beast, and having the narcissist kill the other narcissist, because they do end up attacking each other. And you can see it in the world if you look for it. It's happening already. So, how you succeed as an empath, and you succeed by living out your passion, whatever that is. That doesn't have to that isn't about carrying around some Bible or anything like that. Living out your passion, it comes through the heart. What lights you up? Is it art? Is it doing accounting? It can be that, but in a higher consciousness business, a nonprofit that's helping people. Or I do consulting work now, and I worked for Patagonia, very, very higher level consciousness business. And so it's living out your passion, not someone else's. And it's doing it through your unique self, bringing your personality, your whoever you are to the table. And yeah, it takes time. It takes time. This didn't happen to me overnight. It took many years, over 20 years I've been working on this now. Um, but I believe in you because I know you can get there, because I am in such a good place now. I wouldn't change the journey. So I know you can get there, and you will come to those realizations as well. So thank you so much for being here. I hope this has helped you, and I will see you in the next video.